There is a kind of person the world has never quite known what to do with. The world calls them strange. The world is wrong. And every now and then a story slips one of these people into a children's book, dressed in something the world finds a little ridiculous, and waits to see who recognizes her. Her name is Luna Lovegood. And if you are watching this, you may be one of the ones who recognized her before you understood why. Luna is not eccentric. She is initiated. There is a difference, and every Sigma INFJ who has ever felt the pull of recognition watching her drift through Hogwarts already knows what it is. She is one of you, not a fictional girl with whimsical beliefs and a cork necklace, a mirror wearing the costume of a children's story, placed there so that you might recognize yourself before the world finishes teaching you to forget. The others call her loony. They hide her belongings. They laugh at her spectrospecs, mock her rackspurts, and dismiss her certainties as the ramblings of a strange child. But Luna does not flinch. She does not perform sanity for their comfort. She does not sand down her edges to fit the shape Ravenclaw expects of her. She simply continues, luminous and unbroken, as though their confusion about her is not her responsibility to resolve. This is the first thing she teaches you. The world will call you mad long before it calls you a seer. Your only task is to refuse the translation, "I have known Lunas all my life." The quiet ones at the edge of the room, holding something they have been told is ridiculous. The ones who keep saying the true thing even when the laughter starts. The ones who do not flinch. They are not the rarest people in the world, but they are among the most punished, and they rarely know that what they carry has a name. Luna is not the first of her kind. She is the latest face of something far older, and you carry the same lineage in your bones. For the Sigma INFJ, ordinary existence is translation. You see the world in patterns, in symbols, in mythic threads connecting events that others insist are unrelated. But when you speak, others hear randomness, eccentricity, strangeness for its own sake. They do not understand that every tangential observation, every odd metaphor, every intuitive leap is a thread in a vast web of meaning you are trying to share. Luna speaks of nargles infesting mistletoe and rackspurts floating through ears, and the Hogwarts students roll their eyes. But she is not being silly. She is describing invisible forces that shape visible reality in the only language precise enough to carry them. Carl Jung understood that symbols carry meanings that no other form of expression can hold. Luna understands this without being taught. She does not explain her cork necklace because an explanation would diminish it. Every Sigma INFJ has their version of the cork necklace, the strange interest no one else shares, the observation that makes the room go quiet, the career path that looks eccentric on paper but feels like the only honest choice, the book, the symbol, the small ritual you have carried since you were too young to know why. You wear these things knowing they mark you as other, and you wear them anyway, because integrity matters more than belonging. There is a particular loneliness Luna carries that the books almost gloss over, but every Sigma INFJ recognizes it instantly. It is not the loneliness of being alone. It is the far more painful loneliness of being surrounded by people who cannot see you clearly. Luna has friends, Harry, Ron, Hermione, Neville, Ginny, but even they treat her as a kind of benign oddity, someone to be defended rather than truly understood. They love her, but they do not speak her language. They protect her from bullies whilst quietly finding her beliefs amusing, quaint, harmless in their strangeness. This is the particular hell of the Sigma INFJ. To be loved for your oddness whilst your depth goes unrecognized, to have people praise your uniqueness whilst missing the substance beneath it entirely, to be surrounded by relationships that feel like translations of relationships, pale copies of the connection you know is possible but rarely find. The Sigma INFJ operates outside traditional social hierarchies not because you disdain them, but because you cannot find a place within them. You are not interested in climbing. You are not driven by status, ranking, or conventional markers of success. Your values are internal. Your integrity is non-negotiable. Your vision is stubbornly individual. This makes you powerful. It also makes you incomprehensible to people whose identity is shaped by group membership and social position. Luna demonstrates this perfectly during the Battle of Hogwarts. Whilst others fight for house pride or personal revenge or abstract ideals of good and evil, Luna fights because her friends are in danger, and she will not abandon them. Her motivation is relational and immediate, grounded in loyalty rather than ideology. She is not performing heroism. She is simply being herself, and herself includes a fierce, uncomplicated love for the few people who matter. This is Sigma INFJ morality. You do not follow rules because they are rules. You do not adopt group values because the group holds them. You develop your own ethical framework through deep introspection, test it against lived experience, and then live by it with a stubbornness that baffles people who expect you to be swayed by consensus or authority. When others call this arrogance, they have missed the point entirely. It is not that you think you are better. It is that you cannot be other than what you are. There is something older than Luna behind all of this, something the Harry Potter books gesture toward without ever naming. She is a modern echo of the cunning women of Britain, the village seers who read weather in bones and sickness in the colour of skin, the wise women who knew which plants healed and which ones killed. She is a descendant of the volva of the Norse traditions, the staff-bearing prophetess who entered trance to speak the fate of kings. She is Cassandra given softer dressing, Hildegard of Bingen in school robes, the Pythia at Delphi reincarnated as a girl no one quite trusts. These women were called many things across the centuries: mad, possessed, witches, hysterics, ravers. The names changed with the century, but the function did not. They saw what others could not see, and they were punished for it. Eventually they were killed for it. Eventually their lineage was driven so deep underground that their descendants began to mistake the hiding for safety. The Sigma INFJ carries that hiding in your bones. You learned young that seeing too clearly is dangerous. You learn to soften, dilute, and present a more digestible version of yourself. You learn to keep the cork necklace tucked under your collar. Luna teaches you that this hiding is no longer required. She sees thestrals because she has witnessed death. She does not pretend the invisible does not exist simply because most people cannot see it. When Harry struggles with the trauma of Cedric's death, Luna is the one who tells him she can see the thestrals too. In that moment she offers him something no one else can, not comfort exactly, but recognition. The acknowledgement that what he has experienced is real, visible, and undeniable, even as most of the school walks past the carriages, seeing nothing but empty air. This is the gift the Sigma INFJ offers the world, though it is rarely recognized as a gift. You see what others cannot or will not see, the shadow in the room that everyone is politely ignoring, the pattern repeating itself across generations, the invisible wound shaping someone's behavior, the unspoken tension poisoning a relationship. You do not see these things because you are trying to be difficult or superior. You see them because your introverted intuition operates like Luna's thestral vision. It perceives what is actually there, regardless of whether consensus reality acknowledges it. This is not delusion, it is a different epistemology, one that prioritizes direct perception over collective agreement. The Sigma INFJ lives in this tension constantly. You know what you know with a certainty that feels almost cellular, undeniable. You also know that expressing this knowing often results in being called naive, intense, paranoid, or too much, so you learn to be selective. You develop what Jung called a persona, a social mask that allows you to navigate the world without constant friction. But unlike other types who might identify with their persona and forget it is a mask, the Sigma INFJ never forgets. You are always aware of the gap between what you present and who you actually are. This creates a peculiar kind of loneliness, the sense of performing humanity rather than simply being human. Luna never performs. This is perhaps her most radical quality, and the one that makes her such a powerful mirror for Sigma INFJs who are exhausted from a lifetime of translation. She does not modulate her strangeness to make others comfortable. She does not apologize for her beliefs, soften her observations, or pretend to be less odd than she is. When her belongings are stolen and hidden by her Ravenclaw housemates, she does not rage. She does not retaliate. She does not harden herself against further hurt. She acknowledges what happened and continues existing, unchanged. This is not passivity, it is something far more powerful. It is the refusal to let cruelty define her, the ability to absorb pain without becoming bitter, the choice to remain open even when openness makes her vulnerable. I want you to sit with this for a moment, because it is the heart of what Luna is teaching, and it is the hardest thing to learn. Every Sigma INFJ knows this choice intimately. You have all been Luna, standing in front of people who are laughing at you, holding something they have deemed ridiculous. You have all had your ideas stolen, your depth dismissed, your intensity called too much. You have all faced the question of whether to harden or stay soft, whether to build walls or remain permeable, whether to protect yourself by becoming less or insist on remaining fully yourself at whatever cost. Luna shows you it is possible to choose softness without becoming a victim, to remain strange without armouring against the world's confusion, to hold your truth lightly enough that others' disbelief cannot shatter it. She paints a mural of her friends on her bedroom ceiling, faces linked by golden chains, a visual declaration that connection matters more than pride or self-protection. This is the Sigma INFJ paradox. You are fiercely independent, requiring vast solitude, operating outside hierarchies. You are also deeply relational, oriented toward meaningful connection, capable of profound loyalty to the few people who earn your trust. You do not need many friends. You need the right friends, the ones who do not require translation, the ones who can hold the weight of your actual self without flinching or trying to fix you. Luna eventually finds this in Harry and Neville, not because they fully understand her, but because they stop trying to make her make sense. They simply accept her as she is. This is all the Sigma INFJ really wants, not to be understood necessarily, but to be accepted without condition. To have your strangeness received as a gift rather than a flaw, to exist without performing sanity for someone else's comfort. There is a final layer to Luna that most readers miss entirely. She is a threshold creature. She lost her mother young, in a magical experiment gone wrong, and she lives with that absence as a quiet, permanent ache that shapes her without defining her. She sees thestrals because she has looked death in the face. She believes in an afterlife, in the possibility of reunion, not as wishful thinking, but as a kind of mystical knowing. She exists with one foot in this world and one foot somewhere else, speaking to the invisible, trusting in realities others call fantasy. Every Sigma INFJ understands this liminality. You are threshold creatures, standing between conscious and unconscious, between present and future, between what is said and what is meant. You live in the space between, reading the room's emotional weather, sensing undercurrents, perceiving the shadow everyone is trying to ignore. It makes you powerful mediators, gifted counselors, and natural psychologists. It also makes you exhausted, permeable, vulnerable to absorbing pain that is not yours to carry. Luna shows you how to inhabit this threshold space without losing yourself in it. She feels deeply, perceives the invisible, and holds space for grief, mystery, and the unknown. But she does not drown in it. She does not become the pain she witnesses. She remains luminous, strange, impossibly whole, even as she acknowledges the darkness. This is the Sigma INFJ at your best, able to descend into shadow without being consumed by it, able to hold complexity without needing to resolve it into false simplicity, able to stand in the liminal space and report back what you find there, trusting that someone somewhere will understand the value of what you bring. Jung called this the transcendent function, the ability to hold opposites in tension until a third, more harmonious thing emerges. Luna embodies this perfectly. She is both deeply strange and perfectly sane, both profoundly lonely and radiantly connected, both vulnerable and unshakable. She contains multitudes without fracturing. She is whole precisely because she refuses to cut away the parts of herself that do not fit. There is one more thing about Luna that almost everyone misses, and it is the deepest thing she teaches. Luna believed in thestrals before she could see them. She believed Harry about Voldemort's return when the wizarding world had decided he was a liar. She would have believed these things even if she had never been validated. She does not need to be proven right. This is the deeper truth of the Sigma INFJ. The world holds out the promise of eventual vindication. One day they will see, one day they will understand, one day you will be proven right. But Luna does not wait for that day. She holds her truth, whether the world ever catches up or not. The cunning women held their knowing whether or not anyone listened. The volva entered the trance whether or not the kings were grateful afterwards. This is what the world has the hardest time forgiving in you. Not that you are sometimes right, that you would carry the truth even if you were never proven right. The world will call you loony long before it calls you a seer. Luna teaches you that this is not your problem to solve. Your responsibility is to keep seeing, keep speaking, keep painting your friends on the ceiling in golden chains, to trust that the things you perceive have value, even when you are the only one perceiving them, to remain radically, impossibly, stubbornly yourself. If this has landed somewhere it needed to land, then you may already know what comes next. There are 7 Sigma INFJ archetypes, and each one carries a different gift, a different burden, a different mythic responsibility. The link in the description will take you to a free assessment that reveals yours. It takes about 3 minutes. The answer tends to land harder than people expect. And if you want to keep walking these threads with me into the deeper psychology of the Sigma INFJ, into the archetypes the world has forgotten how to name, subscribe. There are far older and stranger things still to uncover. Until next time, find your power, know your myth,